Okay, so we're just missing a couple of people, but I'll get started because we've got a lot to get through today. I got an email from Brian. I got your fantastic works today. I might just start off with talking about those. The noise is going at the moment. Can you hear any drilling while I'm speaking?
No.
No, I can't
Okay.
hear.
Okay, good. Well, the drilling's going on behind me. Okay, so I'll just start off with, before I start off, has anybody got any questions or anything they wanted to chat to me about? No? All right, well, I've only got work so far from Brian. That's okay. You can send it to me and we'll get to it within the class. I'll just get Brian's work up here. So you got some great works for me, Brian. So which one should I start with first? Yes, here. So I was really impressed, Brian. This is excellent. Oops. So what you've done is you've continued from where we're going to go today, and I'll show the class what they can do with this or what you can further do. So is this someone you know, Brian? Is this a relative or generalized picture?
Just a photo I got off the internet.
Oh, okay. It looked like maybe an old relative or something. I thought, oh, that's nice. Okay, so excellent here. I can see you've done, the blue lines. It's not too detailed, but you put all the relevant markings in the face. And what you've done is you've done further work on. I can see the eyes being traced. Excellent. Yeah. That's similar to what we're going to do. So where you can go from this, and if you wanted to go further, the real traditional smooth sculptured Photoshop look of some images, you can go ahead and do that, which is so easy. You can go into, the way you do it is you go into smudge, and I reckon the best tool to kind of blend everything together to get that smooth is probably you've got the airbrushing tool, but the thing is that is so slick and so smooth. You can use that, or even better, go to the spray paint tool, which you also have kind of spray paints here, but they're a little bit more, I guess, scattered. So I don't know if you can see, but oh, actually, can you see my screen with the computer?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, you can see here, see how it's a little bit spray painted? That would, I want to choose maybe this one, or actually I'll choose the fine nozzle, just because with the spray paints or airbrushing, you see how it's completely smooth? I just want a little bit of texture in there, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So we'll try the fine nozzle. And I'll do it quickly here. We're going to do this, during class, but I just wanted to show you as an example. It's as easy as, and also I want to say you've got the purple background there. I think we did blue or some other thing in the one that we did together. So purple's a good color, and that muted color is very good. It's like a color that's not going to be too bright or too dark. It's toned down, so it's desaturated rather than really bright. And I'll just quickly do it here. So I'll just duplicate it. So we have the original and the duplication. Okay, so I'm on the spray, maybe about this size. Okay, that's probably at about quarter way this size. And about halfway for the spray or the pressure of it. And we can go things, so you've put in the highlights, you put in the darkness, and you put in the medium, and you've got the background color of just any other color, but a nice desaturated color, and it's just spreading it out. So blending those two colors together. So where you've got two color, you've got straight color here, so I'm just going to smooth that out. And I'm just so do you see how that whole area the bigger my brush, the more the blend.
Yeah.
And look at that cheekbone come to life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but really all you need to do is just be that simplified, put all of those marks in, and you can get some really nice blends. And that's how they get those, you know, super real looking figures in Procreate. I'll go around just to this part of the eye.
I did send you a coloured one of this as well, and I did blending on that, but with, I think I used the wet acrylic, but
Yes.
this is much better. This is very much better.
It's okay, but you know, you can, the thing about this course is we encourage you not to do this. Yes, if you're a graphic designer and you wanted this look, but being you know, a proper art school, we want you to, well, we encourage you to do this like a, I guess a real life artist would do. You could certainly do this with an airbrush, but you could go so much further, making it look like an authentic painting. So see that, and then you would go in, and then you do, it's the eyes really. If you get the eyes nice and blended, and I'll just, so I'm going smaller with my brush. So for this area here, of course, I'm not going to use a big brush, but I'm not going to use a tiny brush. I'm going to use the brush where I need to make the least amount of strokes. And I'll just go even smaller around the eye. And it's that technique that gives you this really smooth look. And then after this, you can be really tricky and really clever. So see how smooth that is?
Yeah.
And you can use, for instance, another tool, which is that great painting tool, the one called turpentine. That's my favorite brush. I use that all the time. And actually, I'll just put in darker brow here. So you've got all of that smoothness. So there it is. That only took me not even a couple of minutes. And then you can use other brushes like this turpentine one. So, yep, we're on turpentine. And so this area here, for instance, if you wanted to make it look a bit more realistic than too smooth, you can go, and I'm going to land in the dark area. Bit too big, that brush. I might make it smaller. And see how I'm flicking out?
Yeah.
And that's how you would refine it even more and really go to town with that real brush, artistic kind of realism look. And that's basically how they do it. Takes them minutes, which if you're a painter in real life, you're like, oh. But I'm going to, with this lesson today, I'm going to take it even further to make it look a lot more painterly. So very, like the kind of pictures you'd see, the ones that usually win the Archibald that are really have a lot of loose strokes in it. But I'll go through your other ones, which are even more impressive. So there's the one in color. Okay, you could do, this is great, this here. But, to make it again look real, you need a bit more turpentine brush marks so that you do get a breakup rather than ultra smooth. But maybe you'd kind of bring the opacity down so when you press, it's not so hard. So see those kind of brush marks? But depending on what you use, but that's a beautiful rendition of the greys. So use the greys and then do it again in color. And sometimes if you just use one color, for instance, how last week we had the 5 colors here.
Yeah.
You can go and grab those colors off anyone. So let's just I'll bring in someone. gallery, insert a photo. Here we go, we'll just use her again. So rather than do, if you once you got the hang of it in black and white, go and choose a color. So maybe let's use her as an example. So the darkest area of her is, there we go. So that's her darkest. Sorry, we'll go back into palette. We'll make a new one, create new palette. So this is the darkest color of her skin. Let's just go back. Oh, let's open it here. So that is the color of her skin. It's come from an orange. Here is where it sits in the saturation. So all of this comes from that color, obviously mixed with some black and some white, and this is where it sits. So we want to make the lightest color of it, which would be somewhere, I guess, up there. And that would then be the lightest color. And then you go to the middle. That's the middle color. And so on and so on. Or you can take them directly from here so that there are only 5 colors. And then on top of it, so you've got your 5 colors there. That, do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Instead of, yeah. And then you go to back to your work. Let's just change this. And you put a new layer on top, and there's your darkest color. So let's go and make that a new layer. You can bring that opacity all the way down. You can actually go over your painting.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do the exact same thing again, but instead of building up your black and white, you build it up with these colors here.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
But again, we're going to go through that in class, but to let you know where we're going to go today. That's excellent. Beautiful, beautiful. And there you can, you can slightly blend the eyebrows in. And just, make her free to color something. But yeah, beautiful work. That one, what's the other one you had? Photo. Oh, and the lady that we're working on today.
The one we're doing in class.
Yeah, so good version of that, okay? But today we'll go further and you can do this one or you can do it again.
Okay.
So beautiful work.
Thank you.
And do we all have a version of this lady as we left it last week? I think, I sent a photo of what we were supposed to have. Does everybody got this? All in their right layers? Ready to start?
Yeah. Rose,
Excellent.
it's Kristen here. I'm sorry, I'm behind. I didn't get my iPad up and running until yesterday.
Oh.
So I'm going to have to catch up. But anyway, that's all right. That's
okay. Well, what I can do is I have to show you this anyway. Actually, I'll show you at the end of the class because I don't want to get people mixed up now.
Yeah,
Kristen,
no, that's fine. That's all right. I'll follow along. But yeah, I'll just be a little bit behind. That's all.
No, it's okay. I'll tell you. Do you know what a PNG is?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to send you the paint layer and the trace layer, both as PNG, so you'll be able to use mine. Okay. So I'll explain to everyone later what that means. I'll just email this to Kristen.
Can you send that to me again as well, please? It's Brian.
Yes. Oh, okay. I can send it to everyone. Look, maybe I'll just send. Oh, actually.
Yes, please. From all of them.
Okay. I'll send it to everyone. Those to your iPhoto, and then go back to Procreate and import them, and they should come in to you see-through, unless you have your background on. So if you click background color, that turns on and off the background color. So if you want to turn it off, we'll actually turn it off when you import them, and they should come in see-through. So all you should see is just the gray bit and the tracing. So they should be on two separate layers, as two separate images. And while you're waiting to import them, so what they are PNG. So I'll explain it now. So what we were using before are JPEGs. JPEG is just, you know, an image, a photo. So that can open up pretty much anywhere on your computer. But a PNG is a different type of file. It opens up just your painted layer. So that's why they are separate, because usually we send files and the background layer is on. So that is all going to be one photo as a JPEG. So sending it as a JPEG means what you're sending exactly on the screen. Whereas a PNG, if you don't put a background on that, that will just save as what's painted. So has anybody received theirs yet?
Yeah, I've got them.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, they've come through. Thanks.
Okay. And just test that they have come through as separate layers and that they are see-through. Yeah.
Mine hasn't come through. Did you send it to me or?
Yeah, I send it to everybody.
So sorry, Rose, what are we doing? Are we adding these to the layers?
Oh, I got it.
Or are
Is it
we
done?
starting something new?
Oh, this is just for the few that was especially for Kristen, because she didn't have an iPad last week. So it's just, she doesn't have to do it. She can just use my version, if only if you wanted to.
All right, okay.
Yeah, but if you've already got your files, I mean, your drawing, that's totally fine. It's just for people who wanted to use mine.
Rose,
Yeah?
Oliver, I got the two photos, but they don't have so many layers. They only have 2 layers.
Yes. So did you want to use this one of mine, or did you want to use your one?
I can use mine. That's all right.
Yeah. Use your one. And so any the others that wanted to use mine, has that come through, and have you got that working?
Yes, thanks, Rose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Fatima, Sue, everyone else, are you ready to go? Keep working?
Yeah,
yeah?
mine went to junk, so that's why I couldn't see it.
Oh, but you've got one of your own, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got my own. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Oliver, you're ready to go?
Yeah. Well, how
Yep.
come yours is only 1-2 layers and not the same as what you on the screen?
Oh, because I only sent this
Oh, that's all right.
and that one.
That's fine. That's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's just if you wanted to use those ones, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll turn everything on. So what do we have here? So what happened, actually, I'll turn these off. So last week, we put in our fake canvas. We're not using it yet. It's all the way down the bottom. We had our background. I put blue. I'm not sure what you guys put, but just something that's not too bright, something a bit muted. We had our lady, the original, and we've locked her up. We've locked her so we can't touch her. She's there for safekeeping. It's a good habit to keep into that. Then, oh, I've got my names wrong. Okay. Then we had the blurred. Oops. Then we had the black and white, and we made the picture a little bit more bright and dark. So the darks would come out a little bit darker and the brights would come out a bit brighter. And how we did that, we went and changed the curve. And I always do this. I don't know if it's done right, but it's something that works for me. I push this side up and this side down. So see how that really brings out the dark and the light? Because Procreate doesn't have a handy brightness contrast tool. And that's what I did with that. So I'll just do that. And I actually do that with all of my reference pictures before I paint, just so I can see that a little bit more clearer in brightness and darkness. And then we blurred it so that we wouldn't see too much. Can you hear that noise? That drill behind me, anyone? Just got louder.
No, it's all good.
Oh, that's good. All right. So then we blurred it.
Rose, sorry, could I just ask where the gradient thing was?
Yeah, the gradient is in the magic tool.
Magic
So this
tool.
one here,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's called the magic tool, and it's just where is it? Curve.
Oh, curves. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because they have the a brightness, saturation, and things like that, but it doesn't do it because it's the curves that do it, and that. Comes up with that little box. So that's a graphic design tool that I'm not sure how to use, but for art, I've worked out that that's the best tool to fix the brightness and contrast. And then what did we do after that? Okay, so then we did the face block, the basic face block, and we then painted it. So I'll turn everything off underneath. And then we painted it to get up to this stage. And we painted that with, hey, where's my color gone? Oh, here it is. We went and got something black, totally black and totally white, and found the colors in between. So there were 5 colors only that we used to paint it. And as I said to Brian this morning, I'm using black and white because that's the easiest to train your brain to see that contrast and the values of color. So the values going from darkest to lightest. You can do that with any other color. You can do it in pink, skin color. Okay, but it's best for us to practice with the black and white. And now we're ready to go. So I showed you the kind of a demo on Brian's work, and I quickly did one just before. Like this literally took me minutes. And you can do the same thing, but this is, you know how I was saying, Brian, you know, NAS particularly is known for, you know, real traditional painterly styles. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. And that was done in the same way that I just showed you, but with the turpentine tool. And with painting, it's kind of said, well, I believe this as well. I love this kind of textural look. I can do this textural, I can't say the word, textural look. But I prefer, for some reason, I like painting smooth. I love that airbrush, you know, kind of Renaissance style. But I'll show you one picture of what our aim is for. Actually my favorite painting, and it's supposedly like considered one of the best paintings ever made. It's called Lady Agnew by Sargent. The artist called John Singer Sargent. And I'll just show you as an example why. I'm going to download it. So I don't know if you've seen this picture, but it's known as one of the best paintings in the world. And that's because, what's the best way to explain it? What it has is called brush stroke economy, or stroke economy, or brush economy. But what it's trying to say, what we're trying to say with that word economy is that there are few brush marks used to make a statement rather than a whole piece. So for instance, my work is very, you know, I must imagine if I'm painting this area here, I'm going to paint it to an inch of its life, that I'll use like maybe 1,000 brush strokes. And you can't imagine everything because everything is there for you to see. What makes this painting so good and so clever, you can actually see his brush marks. He's only needed a few. He's so clever, he's only needed a few marks to show you what this is. So up close, it's something abstract. But as you look further apart, you can clearly see that is a sash that has been folded in a certain way to give this certain look. So you can see there's some smoothness here. There's, you know, some kind of tie, but it's giving you just enough information. It's economized. It's only used a few brush strokes and a few colors to give that information, rather than someone laboriously working away to keep painting and painting until it looks exactly the same, like a photo. So that is considered a really good thing. And you can practice this really well in Procreate with what we're going to do now. And basically, the only difference between this kind of painting and the usual kind of airbrushed painting that someone like me would do, it's just pushed a lot further. But pushing it a lot further doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. Because all it is, if you learn to paint like this, all you do is just push it further. So I'll just go back to, say, the turpentine brush. And I'll change this so that there are more brush marks, or the brush marks are smoother. I'm just kind of painting blind here, but see how I'm refining it a little bit more, blending it into each other. That's really all painting is. So do you see how that I'm putting more information in by blending things together, and I could put even more information in. Oops. To refine it. Make it more highlighted and stuff. Just for example, something like that. So yeah, so what we're trying to do is this style, because this ultimately leads to that really airbrushed look style. So if you start off like he has and got the exact information that you need in just those few strokes, that is the term brush economy. And that's what we're trying to learn today. And that's another reason why we go, when we, just before we did the blur, we did the black and white, we changed it into black and white, and we really brought those highlights out and those darknesses out. So we can ultimately see the most important thing. Everything else is just a mid-tone in between. But if you get that brightness and contrast really harsh, you can see the most important things like her eyes, the shadows, the lightness. All you have to put in between is the mediums. So does everybody understand what I mean about that and what I meant about this painting? What we're aiming for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to go through, so we're halfway through that. Okay, so I've explained that. And so, yeah, this is how I got there. So we were at this stage and we've done that. So the next thing we're going to look at is the next stage of her. So we can get rid of everything we've got here and bring her back. So we want to bring that black and white picture of her. This time we don't need the blur. We can look because we want to get good features of her. And the first time we went around, we got the face blocks. Now we want to go around, and within those face blocks, we want to get the refined features. So again, using the face block is one stage that gives us this. And the the face block, and the red is these other little bits. So I'll just turn everything else off so you can see. Okay, and those bits too many layers. So this is where it gets confusing. Okay. So see all these little features, and what they are the shapes. So the obvious shapes of the face, but they are done really simplified. And the others are the obvious shapes and colors of everywhere else. So this is what I mean about being free to learn really fast in Procreate. You don't need, or if you do know anatomy, if you do know how the eye is shaped and such, that's fine. But it's a lot easier to learn with basic shapes and how you're seeing things, how you're seeing a photo, how you're seeing something in your life. And to get those shapes, you do need that basic face. And then within those basic face areas, you do need those little shapes. So that's what we're going to do. And then we will be up to this stage. Just turn everything off. And I'll take this off. So that's the next stage. So we will then smooth her out. So what I'm doing now is smoothing that out. I'm just blending everything into each other. Remember, stroke economy, as less shapes as you can get. So we don't want too many. We want to limit our strokes. And then we go in with the turpentine brush and we blend. But again, we're blending with limited strokes and only in the kind of important areas. And then we finish off, oh, there she is. We finish off with her and we can stylize it, crop it, do whatever we want from it. So that's what we're going to go through today. That's going to take quite a while. And then we'll finish off with sending it to the print shop. I'll take you through how to send it through Officeworks. And there's another couple that I can suggest, more fine art print places. And if we have time, a bit of animation or something that you guys can suggest to finish off the course. So we're ready to go. Does that kind of make sense as a walkthrough of what we're going to do? All right, I'll go back. And we'll get started. Okay, so we should all have this. Right at the top, we should have the face trace. Make sure you got that. Face trace. And underneath that, we should have the painted layer. Underneath that, we should have the blurred, that's the blurred photo. I think I've named them wrong. I'll just go and change that. And this one is the blurred. Right, sorry. So face trace, painted layer, the blurred layer, and under that is the black and white layer. And under that is the saved for safekeeping, the original photo. And underneath that is the blue background. And underneath that is the fake canvas that we've turned on to multiply. So remember the multiply? But we can't see that. That's all invisible because it's right down the bottom. We'll bring it back up so we can see that later. Okay, so first thing is...
Rose, yes, Oliver, I can't use mine. I'm using yours. Yours, the one that you sent only has 2 layers. Is that all right?
Oh, have you got the one from last week? Like, did you do one?
I did do one, but they haven't got all the layers that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, did you? So the one that we did last week should have all of these layers?
Yes, the one that I finished didn't have all the other layers behind it. So.
Oh, okay. Is anybody else like that? Okay. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just quickly email you everything else. And if you could bring that all in.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah? No, you're right. 1, 2, 3. All right, so there'll be three photos coming in.
Mhm.
And so bring those into that Procreate file.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how
And
do I
there's,
combine them?
sorry,
How do I combine all those photos? I got the 3 photos.
just bring them in separately. So that the ones that are already open. So you'll have this one. So you'll have, oh, so you've got this one and you've got this one. You just bring in them, just go into your ad and then bring them in once you've downloaded them. So the insert photo, and then they should all come up.
They come.
They're coming, yeah. So
How did
when
they
they
come
come,
up?
so when they come in as the email, save them.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes in, you save them,
Yeah.
yeah, and now
Okay.
they're in your
In the album.
yeah. And so you're on your Procreate file like this, and you just go to add, insert photo, and they should be there, and they should all line up in Procreate. So you go insert photo, there's one here,
So I
and
open
then
a
they should
canvas.
come.
So I open a canvas first.
Yeah, open the ones. Have you already put these 2 into Procreate?
Which 2 in the Procreate? I got
Okay.
the.
What I might do is I'll just get started.
Yes,
and
yeah,
during the
please do,
break,
please do.
yeah? Okay. All right. So here we are again. Okay, ready to start. So now we're up to the stage where we want to get those red lines in that I got with the details. So we need a face again. So here's her in black and white. Let's take off everything else. So we have a clear photo of her in black and white. We want to make another layer. Let's come up down here. I'm going to push it right to the top. And I'm going to change that name to face details. There we go, face details. So the only thing that should be ticked is the black and white photo of her and face details, which is on, but is now empty. So we just want to make sure that's okay with everyone. And I want a nice bright color. That's not the color of the face trace. So I'm going to use red. And I want that on something thin. So I'm going to use the pencil again. I'm going to use my thick pencil, technical pencil, any kind of pencil around that size. And make sure, double check, it's in the face details layer. And I'm also going to put on the face trace. And I might just lower that face trace opacity down to about 60% because I want to see it, maybe about 50%. I want to see it, but I don't want it to be overpowering. Okay, so our face trace is always the same, whichever face we put it on. The face details are always going to be pretty much the same, but how you trace them and how you find those details are going to change image by image. So with the eyes, let's go and draw on the eyes. So test it out, making sure it's on the right layer. Yep. You want to really, what's the word? So thinking of stroke economy, think of line economy. You don't want it too detailed and you don't want it too curved. So I wouldn't trace as detailed as that, because that's too much information. You want to make it easier. Think of that stroke economy theory. I'll go back and I'm going to trace only a few lines, but in the correct, I guess, direction of where things go, like break it up, no curves, just break it up into just lines like this. So one here, and rather than go around the eye like that, too detailed. One here, probably little one there, and there. Actually, that's too much. That's too fussy. I think we can break that down to 3. And I finished just where her eyelash finished. So probably just around here. So that was only 3 lines. That's breaking it up. And the great thing is, look, you can do this. You can't do this in real life. The second line, you can probably see it's where the eyelashes are. So you have your inner lid, and that's where your lashes are. I usually go by the lashes. So I reckon that one from there to there. And probably just one more line that's going to go there to there. So see that very basic shape? That's how you want to keep your basic shapes for the eye. The next shape you want to look for is where that, that kind of teardrop area. Then the only curves you do are just slight curves, which show the size of the eye. Really limited, it's a very basic eye. So let's get that one on the other. So it's 1, 2, and we want to finish where the eyelash finishes. So this one is slightly curved. And then the next one you want to get is that corner of the eye. Goes that direction. And then this direction. You can't really see the corner of the eye here, but you can see this curve of the eye. So everyone got that? Just say hold up if you need me to. And with the eyelids, same thing. Usually it's 3 the max. So the first one for the eyelid, I'd go straight down. Oops. And then we're going to straight across and then straight down. That's all that's needed. And we'll go repeat on the other side. Very basic. Then the eyebrows, you can see we've already marked the eyebrows with the blue, but we want to mark the inside of it. So where it stops and starts, so it goes from there up to there. And I probably want to make it a bit clearer that it goes there. Actually, I can trace, just to be cautious, I'll just trace over the whole area, but it's within that eye frame. And the other side, that's the eyebrow. And that's it for the eyes. And for the nose, so you can see you've already got the shape of the nose. Everybody's nose is going to fit into a shape like that. But what makes your, the likeness and this person special is where this line is, so the outer edge of the nose. And, if you've done your face shape correctly, your nostril should definitely be in this little triangle here. So we'll go copy the width, curved shape, and other things that kind of identify the nose. So she's kind of got like a little dimple in this area. And the other thing I find for the nose is just the roundness of it. So usually people have a little round shape. So here it is, that little round shape. And that highlight should always be on that corner, because that is the place that is the closest to the light, that will reflect the light. So you can see there's a little highlight in there. So very simple, basic shapes. The next thing, she's got quite a, I'm not sure what you call it, that area under the nose. Copy that. And then she's got her lips. So I always leave the lips blank until this moment. And again, the lips, you want to make it very basic shape. So start from the very end and find the blackest line. So 1 line, 2, 3, 4. Just a very simple line, 4 strokes. Again, trying to keep it, you can have a little curve, but not too much curves. If it's too much curves, break it up into straight lines. And then the lips. Break up those curves. Very straight looking. And then the ears. The ears, what you want to find is you want to find this area here where it kind of attaches. So that little triangle. Oh, Siri, go away, Siri. Okay, and the other area, see, I don't even know the names of these areas. I don't know any anatomy. Some you want to keep nice, straight, basic lines. So we've already got that line that we did with the face trace, showing that area. And then we want just a few. So this kind of fold that goes around your ear and the little kind of half diamond shape here. And the next thing we want to trace is that kind of hole in your ear, the whole area. And recall that. Yep, looks good. The other details, we can do the neck. So there's a few of these kind of black lines here. You know, don't do too many, just limit it. And probably this area here. That shows the, I don't even know that name. And probably one here that's just showing the shoulder. Where else? She's got a little cleft chin here. And I'm just going to circle where that highlight is. And I'm being too fussy, but let's be fussy. This is our first go. I'm going to get the highlight that's up here on her chin. Just make a marking for it. And I'm just looking, what other details do I need? I might do the details. So see how we go from the shadow underneath the hair. I might make it a little bit smaller. So just like that. And the hair details. So let's get the hair details. So most of those details are in the blue area, but let's kind of mark where this hair line falls. So there's you can see that the hair goes over, comes down, goes to the back of it, and this kind of hair that's pushing forward is kind of that, giving us that change of color. And the hair over here, you can see it follows kind of this area. And then there's this area. It's kind of giving you, see the direction of the hair? I'm following this kind of gray chunk. Kind of that capsicum kind of shape. But do you see where I'm following? I'm putting these points in because that's where the color change is. You go from your darker gray to your lighter gray, and it's separated by this chunk of hair. Same thing over here. This chunk of hair starts in there, comes out, and goes down. So you can see the separation because this hair, this area of hair is overlapping here and here. And then as you come down here, I see this chunk of hair. And this kind of chunk of hair that's coming from the back, but I can see there's a color change and direction change. And I think that should be enough. All right, so just going through it again, your essentials are the eyes, and those simple strokes that I made are always necessary, but again, keep them nice and straight, not too curved. The nose, so we've already got that area in the blue with the face trace showing us where that nose is, where the highlight of that nose is, where the side of that nose is, where the nostril is. All you have to do is just put a mark, or visually, if you're painting, you know, from life, figure out where they are within these squares. I mean, these areas that are sectioned off. That's why the face trace is so handy, because you just need to put the mark within the area. And this is also a handy mark too, putting where that one is, especially if you can see it in shadow. And the lips, essential mark, just start off with the blackest area and then straighten the lips. So no curves, keep them straight. Everywhere else is kind of freestyle, wherever you think those important color changes are, or those important marks to define who this person is. Okay, so anybody got questions about that or want to add anything? The only time I'd add, you know, anything extra to those essential eyes, nose, mouth areas and ears is if it's something distinctive that you think that they definitely need. So there you have your likeness, and we can turn off that picture of her. Yeah.
A quick question on
Yeah.
that. When you're doing the highlight, say on the chin and the cheek, would
Yeah.
you also do the forehead, or you wouldn't do the forehead?
Oh, it depends. Like when I first started painting, I was tracing every single thing. It's kind of like scaffolding. As you practice more, you'll get that muscle memory and you'll actually learn anatomy. Like I know every single muscle of the face because I've painted it so much, not because I've learned through an anatomy book. So as I keep explaining, you'll learn more the more you keep painting, and you'll expect certain areas of shade because you'll be like, oh, there's always shade in this here for all the people that I've done. And then if you go to an anatomy book, you'll be like, oh, that's a muscle there. That's why this keeps coming up in everything that I draw. Do you know what I mean? So if you feel you need more, put them in. But those are the essentials that I usually put in, and that's how I find them. So going through, and when you do the black and white, you really see what is standing out. And you'll make sure you put those marks in, because where you put those darks and the lights really control what your image looks like. That okay, Josephine?
Yep, no, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. So all these little hints. Okay, so that's looking good. And now we've just got to go in and paint it. So what we want to do is we want to try and get this picture up on our references. So while it's looking as it is, so we've got the details trace on, we've got the blue trace on, we've got the black and white. So everything in this picture is going to be useful to us. Actually, what I might do is change it to the blurred image. So see, I've now got the blurred image on, and I'll just make sure everything is clear. I might leave the opacity on, and I might bring the red opacity on, just so I can see everything clearly. There's just enough information, not too much. And I'm going to send that picture, share, just as a JPEG. So I have that saved, and now I can go to my reference. So go to Canvas. Where was it? Reference. Here we go. So it's in my reference. Actually, that's just what it's saying here. It's just replicating the canvas, but I want the actual image that I just saved. So I'm going to go to Import Image. Here we go. And I'm going to import that. So it's here. I've got that reference. So that's where we're at this stage. I'll give you a minute just to get that one ready. Has anybody got any problems so far? All right, I'm just going to get us to the next stage and we'll have a break. And while I do that, I'll help Oliver and anyone else that needs to catch up. So are we all ready to go ahead? Yeah. Okay. So we got our reference, which is very important. Now we go back to paint. So we have our paint layer here. Let's just turn everything off behind that. So I've turned. So what we have here now, let's put the blue background on. Okay, so what we have now is our background. We have our background turned on. We have our painted layer turned on, and we have our face details on. Does anybody have an image of their face if they've got their own image and it's not as, I guess, opaque as mine? It's maybe a little bit looking more like that. Because what I did is when I painted this layer, because the gouache brush is a little bit transparent, as you can see here, it came up a lot lighter. So rather than pressing harder or adding more layers, I just duplicated this layer. So you can see me duplicate it here, duplicate, see how it gets darker? You probably don't want it as dark as that. So I'll just go delete that. But you want it as dark as mine here. So you can still see some bits here, like broken up bits. You can still see my brush marks, but it's not too light. I'll turn everything back on again. And here we go. We can go and start painting, but we want to safe keep this paint area. And we want to make a new layer, which is going to be for our face detail. So I'm going to click on a new layer. Here it is down here. And I'll slide that up directly under face details. So we got your face details, which is those red lines. And we got a new layer. And underneath that is everything else. So we want to safe keep what we've already done and continue our face details on a different layer. So this is where it starts to get confusing, but you'll get to it. So I'm just going to write on this one. This one's face details. Okay, so let's start with the eye. So remember, we're painting on face details layer, and we can still see the face. We've got the face details layer on top, but we're on the paint. Oh, I should add on here. Rename face details painted. So that's probably a handy thing. Face details on top, face details painted underneath. So that's the layer we're painting on. So let's go right up to the eye. I figured out that problem. I can't change it. Well, so last week it wasn't changing, but I found to enlarge an area that wasn't working for me. I click on it with my finger and wait till it comes up to this screen and then change it. So there we go. Let's get this one up. All right, and all we do, so see how we've used the blurred image for this area? We just want to deal with the basics. We're going to do all the nice hand brushing work later, but all we want are these basics. You can go in and copy the color. So I'll get the bright gray there and then I'll put it in here. Or I suggest this way, it's a bit harder and a bit more fiddly, but it's going to train your brain. So I want to go back to palettes. Last week I was using this palette, painting palette. I'm going to go and set as default. So default, remember, that is the palette that comes up in this view. So I have my painting palette back. Just making sure we've all got that. And why I suggest this, because as I said, you're training to see the values in color, like value meaning how dark it is, how light it is. And that's going to, that's what really gives your painting a life. Because if you see paintings and, you know, it's got everything in the right place, but something's wrong with it, that's usually because the person painting hasn't really captured the values, the darkness and the lightness. And that's what really, you know, takes a generic painting that's okay to something that's really good. And you can see that darkness and lightness when you're working from a photo, and you can see it in real life. But again, it's hard to see in real life sometimes because everything's in color. But if you take it back to just the generic black and white, it's so much easier to see. And also with your training to paint like this, you'll be able to say, oh, it's black, it's white, oh, it's this dark gray, or it's this light gray. Whereas if you do something in skin color, it's hard to see the difference between a darker skin color and a shadow skin color or a bright skin color. So that's why we're using the gray, and we're using it from our selection here. So you can judge, is it this gray, or this gray? You're training your eyes. So I say for this color, we're probably looking at this, this gray here. So let's get that. And we want the right brush, which is, what were we using? We were using the gouache brush. And gouache is good because it's a good general paintbrush to get a good effect. It's not completely opaque, which means that you do get these nice changes of color. That's why I use this brush, the gouache brush, as my initial putting color down, because it gives you a real life feeling. So gouache brush, let's check the size. So again, thinking of brush economy, I wouldn't be going like that. I would be thinking brush economy. I want the biggest brush for my buck. Okay, so I'd say this is the size of my brush, and it kind of fills the area. Maybe I'll do something a little bit smaller. So it's only in this little area here that I want this color to be. So I'm just probably going to go one stroke, make my brush a little bit smaller, 2 strokes. I'll do that again. So thinking, what's the size? 1 stroke here, and then maybe make it a little bit smaller. Start lightly. So I made that in 2 strokes, and for me, that's good enough. It's not completely neat, but you don't want to do that. You want a bit of your personality in this painting, not an exact copy. And you can see it's kind of lighter in this area. So when I overlapped, it did make this area lighter because that's 2 strokes on top of each other. I might just bring another stroke there just to lighten the area. It's up to you, but this is what I mean about you making it your personality. This is a fine art piece, not just a digital copy of something. And again, you paint like this in real life, you're going to get a painting in real life like this. And let's continue down here. So the next biggest area. So where I'm going are the biggest areas before I start doing detailed work. So that was a big area. Under the eye was a big area, but I'd say that's a touch darker than this color that we used up here. So let's go back. I'm going to get the next color, which is probably this color, the middle color. And again, check my brush size. How can I do this in the least amount of strokes? And we've got gray there, so let's do probably a little bit bigger. There we go. One stroke. That's all it needs. And maybe just a little one down the bottom. Mm. And then one in the corner. So it's quite a big area. I'm going to try and do that in one brush stroke. Probably not dark enough. Press a bit harder. There we go. So that's as simple as you want the eye to be. Next thing, we've got these areas here. So I'm going to probably keep that color, which was the middle color. Make my brush a tiny, lot smaller. And then one stroke in here that's going to represent that eyelid. And another eyelid. And probably make it a little bit smaller, which is going to get you that last eyelid. That's a bit too small. So we've got those eyelids in. Again, trying to copy the closest grey that we have. And then we've got the inner eye. Make my brush a little bit bigger. And kind of drawing that little triangle there. And then I'm going to go to the white. And then draw in with one brush stroke. Not big enough. Too big. Too big again. So I'm using 2 brush strokes. And then the actual eye, we want to show that it has some, so that it is a sphere, it's not a flat black circle. Let's go in, and I probably think the second, number 2, the second darkest, we just want to get a nice small brush stroke. And if you can see in this eye here, you do have black, but it looks like the light's coming from the left hand, because you can see in the left hand area, it's a little bit light. So sometimes you can't see, but try and work it out which way the light's coming from, and at least put a little highlight. So this is quite a big highlight, something like that, just to show that the eye is a little bit alive. We're going to go into more detail later. And you want to show the side of the eye. Sometimes it's going to be really black, almost black, like it already is now. You want to make sure that there is a difference there. So here's the same black, I've just put that in. So hopefully you have something similar, or whatever your style is. Have a look. I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I may do is just darken with a bigger brush. This area here look too dark. I've just softened it up just a little bit, maybe a bit more. Okay, take it off, take everything else off. Let's see what it looks like. Zoom in. And those are your first marks. And so we'll have a little break now. And what we'll do when we come back, or you can get started if you want, is go in and do the similar thing to this. So I'll go ahead and do that when I get back, if you want to be guided, or if you want to do this yourself, if you're feeling confident, go and basically do the whole thing until you get to a stage where you're happy with it. And then I can start taking you through the process of how we blend it all together. Is that okay for everybody else? Any questions before we go on a break?
That's good, thanks, Rose.
All right. Okay, I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Hey, Oliver.
Hi, sorry to be of a nuisance.
No, 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 no. It's okay.
got-
It's okay.
I got all the work in different photos. Different. They are not in one not in one work. They're all in separate works. So I don't have
Oh.
all the layers in one work. I think it's first thing is how to combine all the different work into one work.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's start from the very scratch. So have you got all, so just as long as you've got all the photos in iPhoto, are they all in iPhoto?
They should be.
All right. So we're going to start from absolute scratch so that we get it exactly as it is.
Okay.
So we will go to, let me just check to see how big this one is. All right. So let's just start. We'll go back to the gallery.
The
Um,
Procreate. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm just thinking of the easiest way. Now, what we'll do is we will go to iPhoto. So let's go to iPhoto.
iPhoto. Yeah.
And we are just going to click. So you've got the tick.
I got the sketch. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and you clicked on it.
Okay, I got a photo. How? So I put select. Okay.
Yeah. And do you have the forward button?
Sorry, which one?
The forward button, just down here in the corner.
Yeah.
Or I'm not sure. Yeah.
Forward.
So
Yeah.
forward.
Okay.
And do you get a screen like this?
Yes.
You got Procreate.
Yeah. Yes.
Click Procreate.
Okay. Done.
Done. Now we want to go to Procreate. Open Procreate. And it should come up.
I have so many of them. I can't
It should be the first one right at the top. It should be the first one.
Okay, let's try that one.
Yeah. Click on
Because
it.
I have many versions of it. Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Got that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're just going to make sure it's the right one. So if you go up here
Yeah.
to layers
Yes.
and turn off the background.
Okay.
That's happening?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And now we're going to go back to add.
Go back to add. Yeah.
Yeah. Insert photo.
It's a photo.
And we're going to get just the black and white one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to check again. We're going to go to background just to make sure it's the right one.
So turn off the background, is it?
Yeah. But when you turn off the background, this should all be there.
Turn the background. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
see-through. All right. We got the most important ones. That's fine. So we turn on the background again.
Yeah.
And we're going to push this one. So layer one.
Yeah.
Push it right to the top. Oh, disappeared. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
a-
just,
That's the
yeah.
trick. Sometimes I can make it small, sometimes I can't. The layer one, how do you move it to the top? How do you make the layer one smaller to move to the top?
It depends. You just, any layer. So just say this one, see how I click on it?
Yeah.
And then I just move it.
Oh, I have moved two of them. Oh dear. Okay.
No, that's all right. It may be easier to click on the top one and move it to the bottom.
So you want the layer one on the top?
Yeah, layer one is at the top.
Yeah, got it.
Got it. All right. Then we need to go back, insert photo.
Yeah.
You know the ones I sent you, like this blue one.
I've copied so many of them. It's all right. I'll pick one. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want the blue one? Blue one goes right down the bottom. Oops.
The insert image. Okay. Go down right to the bottom. Yeah.
Go down. Then you
Yeah.
need the grey one, the grey black and white one. There's the blurry. There's one that's blurry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes and
So
then
I select it and
yeah.
so that blurry one. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the top you will have
Oh, I'm missing one. I'm missing the blurry one. I think you got 5, only got 4. Oh, maybe I haven't imported. Let me see again.
yeah, it should be. There's one black and white and one black and white that's blurry.
So the photo. Okay, now I've got 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So where
Now
do you want the blurry one to go?
Yeah, I'm going to email you this one.
Oh, I got. Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
Oh, yeah, I have to email you one more, which is, I'll email it to you now. To be this one.
Mhm.
So when that one comes through,
So I've got one image. Yeah, I got that.
yeah. So we want to go
It's got a black background.
black.
Yeah.
It should be this one here.
Yeah, I got it, but it's in black background, not white.
Oh, just click on it again. It may be just the way that it's coming. It should be white. We should have no background.
On the attachment, there's no background, but when I click on it, I click on the black background. But anyway, well, let's see what happened. So I save it, image save.
Save.
Okay, I've got the attachment. So what do I do?
Okay, I'll just change. Yeah, because this is the email I sent to you, but it's
Yeah.
black, you said?
Yes, but when I click on it, it becomes a black background. But what do I do with that attachment?
So you just save it to your iPhoto.
So
it's exactly like the other one. So just save it. And then once it's saved in your iPhotos, you should be able to just bring it in like the others, insert photo.
Okay. So I go to Procreate.
Yeah.
And insert a photo. And insert the photo. Yeah. Okay.
And it should come up with everything in it.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Now, not everything. Okay.
Okay. So at the top.
At the top.
Yeah. You should have the one you just got in, which is this one.
Oh, so it's called face details. Okay. So let me rename it.
Yeah. Just name it all.
Huh?
Start. Yeah. If you could copy the names, and this one here, I'll just gonna email you this one. So there'll be another one coming in, which is just of this. So I'm just gonna save it. So I've sent you one more. Which is just of the eye. So, but let's get all your layers done first. So if you can see mine.
Yeah, just a sec. I haven't got the eye yet.
Yeah, we'll do the eye last. Just go and put in all the names. And they all should be there.
Yeah,
As long as you got the faces, yeah.
I can sometimes make the, okay, now I got it. I don't know how I do it, but I make it smaller and move to the top. So the face details on the top. And then face detail painted. I haven't got that yet.
That's in the email.
Yeah, face trace. I call it layer one. I'll rename that. Rename. So it's face layer
You get
one.
those. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
try and get all those done. And then when I come back, you should be able to
So
start.
what's face trace? Okay. Yep. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How are you going, Oliver?
I'm putting in the last one you said. I didn't get that. I got the. Rose, can you send the last one you sent? I didn't get
Now,
that.
one of these, this one of the eye.
Yeah, that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that one I sent. Everybody is up to date. Now, does anybody else, does anybody have any questions about what we've done so far? Before I continue. So I'm just going to continue and I'm going to dictate as I can continue. So it's all on video. But if you want to race ahead and do as you want, keep doing so. If you have a different style, that is fine. But all we want is that very basic light and shade, I'd say map of the face, map of what we're doing. So I'll continue on. So don't mind my voice. I'm going to continue on with the other eye. Always on the face details, painted layer. So I'm going to go and get the other eye. And choose my colors. So what area am I going to start with? I might actually start with the pupil. So I want the second black, second darkest black. with a small brush. And if you are listening to me and you want me to stop, I've gone too far, or ask me a question as you go, just let me know, just yell out, stop. Again, try and get that pupil in. Now I'm going to go the white of the pupil. It's not as, so the whites of the pupil are slightly different. The one probably closest to me here is a lot lighter. Thank you. So I'm going to go and choose the second white. And now I'm going to do the bottom of the eye, probably in the middle white. One stroke there, one stroke there, and probably the same middle grey up in the corner here. And I'm going to use the middle grey again, just in this corner here. And what that should do, because I've lightened up here, I've got this black band that's coming into this eyelid, so I don't really need to do anything there. I might just make a little bit lighter there. No, I'll just keep it. So that's that eye done. The next thing is the nose. So look at the nose as a whole. And I'm seeing there's a definite highlight in the middle, in the ridge of the nose. So I'll probably get probably the white, but I'm not going to press this hard. Find the size. So even though this is white, I'm not pressing too hard. Down the nose. And I'm going to feel the roundness of the nose where I put that circle in. And probably I'm going to change the color. We're going to go for the second white, second lowest white. And I just did a little stroke over here. And I might also put a stroke here. Still in that second lightest white, and around here of the nose. So you can see there's a little bit of lightness in this rectangle area. Oops, wrong color. And quite a big brush because it's a big area. And then a smaller stroke, which is just coming down here. A bit too small. And one more stroke, a little bit bigger. So around here, here's that color. And then I'm going to go on the other side of the cheek because I noticed that this is a lot lighter than what I've got here. So I'm probably going to I'll probably get the white. Very big brush. Bit smaller. Just with a series of strokes. And this is this area here. I'm going to cover that. So I might put a few strokes on top of each other just to get that whiteness there. Go away, Suri. And then have a look from a distance. Yep, that's looking good to me. I might now go under the nose. So remember we put this area here. I might darken it just a little. With the middle grey. Looking at the two areas, I might just need a little bit of white. That's too light. I might just dim the opacity of the plain white and just get this area under the nose. And another bit of that pure white, but not so opaque, just slightly on the other side of her nose, maybe a little bit lighter. And around this cheek area, I can see that's very white. Down to the chin. I'm going to go fill that circle that I put there. And it's definitely whiter on one side of the chin. I might get a darker grey, probably the second lightest grey, and put in that tiny little dimple in her chin that I've made a mark. It's not dark enough. I'll go to the middle white. And under the lip, I think is too dark. So again, with the mid grey, or the second lightest grey, I'm going to go in and lighten that area. And now I'll come back to the lips. I might get a straight black. And go and draw in that the darkest area. And try and copy the colouring of the lip. So it's quite dark at the edge of the lip. And get my mid greys and fill in the rest. So it's quite dark up here. And the other highlights I've placed. So I'll get my pure white, big enough brush. Oops. So I've just put in that highlight. The ear, again, I've still got my white highlight brush. Actually, I'll change that to a different grey. Just double check, yes, I'm on the right layer. I'm going to go in and fill this ear. Let's check. That's getting there. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to go on to the neck. put all the elements on that I think I need. How are we going for time? Just checking everyone out there. You're working away okay? Any problems?
Yep.
Oh, all right, I'll keep going with mine. Okay, I'll start the hair. Oh, actually, sorry, it was the neck. Here's the neck. Got my blue lines and my red lines. Okay, I think I've definitely made this area too dark. So I'll just go and lighten it by using probably this mid-grey to go over all the blackness in this area. It's too dark. Actually, I might cheat and do that all in one stroke so I get an even. So see, I'm going in one stroke and getting an even line. Then I'm going to get some darker color, almost black, and that's what I'll do those necklines in. Actually, that's not dark enough. I'll have to go use black. I might break that up in 2 lines. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. And also do it down the shoulder. So oops, I'll break that up. I won't break the lines up so I can get that all even. Keep my pen on the palette. And correct this shading down here that I got wrong. Just going over here with some white. So I think that I might go over the neck a bit just with the white. Oops. Maybe with white. I'll go lighten that neck even a little bit more with my brush. Oh, that's too much. I might bring the opacity down, still using the white, and go and correct that up. Bit happier with that. It's not exact, but it's kind of giving me the same darkness, lightness there. The other areas that I've done with the red should be, so we'll bring our opacity back up to the white because I've noticed this area here with the hair. I'm going to go and refine those colors. A bit of grey in here. This big capsicum shape. I've got that really wrong. I'll go and try and refine that. Making it a little bit brighter than what it is because I just want to get those highlights. I want to get those highlights nice and distinct. And I think I need some more darkness. probably the second darkness, second darkest color. Go and refine some areas in here. But again, keeping the brush marks nice and loose. And first learning shapes, and then you can learn the anatomy as you start to become more familiar. Oops. Constantly changing brush sizes and colors, keeping it simple. And I can see around here some details of darkness. I might make this a little darker. Excuse me, I'll change that to black. It's quite dark, showing edges here. Change the black again, because I just noticed around here there's a change of color. First of all, this is a little bit too light. And then we've kind of got some definition around this hairline. Simple shapes. Up in the hairline. I'm going to come around to this side, tidy up the hair. And I've just noticed this area up here needs to be a lot whiter. So I'm going to correct that, see? And it's actually white on this side of the orange. Again, keeping it small and controlling blends. You can do with overlapping color. Keep overlapping until it blends in. And this area around the eye. Going over. There we go. This area. Put the grey in the totally wrong area. So I'm just going to go and correct that. Might go here with my second lightest grey, quite thin. You can see this area here. This area, this side of her face. Oh, it's still got layers on it. This face. So it's still like there. It's not as light as the hair, but there is some kind of definite line there. Here. Here. I want to make sure I get that in because otherwise there won't be any definition of where the light stops. So I just want to turn it all on again. So just here, I just want to neaten that area up and I think I've finished. So I'll go and make this area. I fixed up the white. Here I might go with the lightest grey and just go and make some little definition. Break the line up so it doesn't look too perfect. All right, let's have a look. Taking the face traces away. Oh, the forehead I've missed, but everything else is looking good. So I'll go back to the forehead. Let's see what I can do with it. So this is the forehead. Here's the forehead on her. Okay, so I think we can bring some lightness into this face trace area. Seems to be in this corner. Enlarge my brush so I can just do a big. Area like that. Too dark. Oh, big brush. Maybe something like that. A little bit up here. And just bring some darkness. Maybe some black. Just up in this area here. Don't worry about it being too blended. Probably the last thing, just around the eyes and nose. Probably in a mid black. This area here, just on this ridge, to show that there's an angle change. Go away, Suri. Okay, let's have another look. Take everything off. Whoops, take all the blue. That's looking pretty good to me. So it looks really messy. That's fine. The idea is you've just got to clean it up with brush strokes and then take it from there. But this kind of messy is fine. This is ideally what you want. You can do it as neat as you can, or you can do it as messy as you want. It depends how far you want to refine it to something that has really good stroke economy, then to, you know, something that's really well blended, but again can look too photoshoppy or too airbrushed. So I'm going to stop there and just give you some time to continue on. Well, you're probably faster than me. So class, how are you going?
Getting there.
Getting there?
getting there.
Yeah. Well, I've recorded all that on video so you can see what I'm looking for. But what's the time? 11:37. So has anybody almost finished?
Almost.
All right. Because from 11 on, not 11, from 12 to 12:30 when we finish, I'd really like to use that time to show you how to print it. And has anybody got any questions? So just shout out to me if you need me to stop. But while you're working, so with this course, it's really hard because we need every week of what we've learned to get up to this stage. So this is the hardest stage. But, you know, we needed those 8 lessons to learn every step. So what I found out when teaching this last lesson, lesson 8, where we learned the hardest thing, is that I never get to see people's work. So what I do now in the course is that I get you to finish this as best as you can. I won't see it in this lesson, but what I'll do is get you all to email me your finished image. And then what I do, I don't have another class. There's no 9th class, but I bring them all up to my computer and I record marking them. So I go through your works that you've sent to me, and then I record a session of me talking about your work and going over some things that some critiques. And that is kind of like the 9th critique lesson. It's probably at most like 20 minutes by the time I talk through them all. But yeah, so that's the plan, if that's okay with you. Once you finish this, so I give you 2 weeks. So if you can have them in by 2 weeks, and I'll record the lesson. If you have any questions, just email them to me and I'll refer to them while I'm recording your session. And then I'll send you out a 9th video. So the 9th video is just your feedback. So if that's all right with everyone, I will find the date. So today's the 14th. So this week, next week. So the 28th, if you could all have it in by, have your finished images in by Sunday, June the, oh no, sorry, the 29th. So if you could have all of your finished work in of this artwork by the 28th of June, I will make the recording on the 29th of June, which is a Tuesday, and I'll have that emailed out to you within that weekend. Okay, so have all your works in email to me by the 28th of June. Any questions you'd like to ask me about your work or any feedback, and I will go through each one in a recording I do at home, and I'll have that recording sent to all of you by Sunday the 3rd. So I'll make sure I wrote that down. Actually, I'll put it in here. Mark Procreate. So I'll put that in an email. How'd you go, Oliver? Did you get it all working?
But yes, I started working on it. It's just fine. Thank you.
It's all right. Yeah, you've all done so well, because this is, like I always say, with NAS, this is the hardest course because it's so much information and there's so much more. So while you're working, there's so much more tricks that you can do. But if you want to get, like I said, the traditional NAS painterly effect with all of your Procreate art, these are the best tools to use. There is so much more. So if you go online onto YouTube and you type in things like Procreate tricks, Procreate hacks, there's so much more, but those are mainly things for more graphic design, more traditional digital art looking work. But
Well,
if you look, yeah.
When you say painterly, what are you expecting?
Painterly, like that one, like this one. So see how it looks painterly? It's very, it's not perfect. It's more like it's done with a real brush.
Okay.
But you can do any style that you want. But the main aspect of this course is to teach you this kind of style. Because if you were to pick up a real paintbrush, real paints, this is what you'd get. Unless you're a crazy fanatic like me and want everything perfect, you blend a lot. But the blending won't be with that turpentine brush. It'll be with more of a airbrush.
Oh, the other thing I noticed, your airbrush, you got nozzles. And
Yes.
nozzle brush, I don't have it on my iPad. What else
So-
can I use?
So in the airbrush that I was using, so I used the soft brush and all these brushes to erase, so it's nice and smooth. Sometimes it can be too smooth. So what I used was in spray paints. So spray paints is down here, so it's another one.
Oh, okay, spray paints, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see how it's not so perfect?
Mhm,
It's a little bit more rough than the actual airbrush.
mhm.
So that is a little bit better. That's a good one for airbrushing because it's not so perfect. So sometimes all of these little dots in here that you can see, especially when you're doing skin, when you're airbrushing the skin nice and smooth, those little dots sometimes can look like, pores of skin. The pores in your skin,
Mhm.
it just changes up the texture just a little bit. Oh, what's the time? Okay, 11:46. I'll have to get you to put your hands down at the moment because I need at least 15 minutes to show you how to blend. So how to get from there, from what we had to this. So on the areas that you have already done, so let's just go through it all again. Okay, so we don't need that, we don't need her there, we don't need her there. Taking everything off. So hopefully you have the basic shapes. Okay, so we don't want it too refined that it doesn't look, look so much neater than this. We just want those things that we went and highlighted in the first place, which is that, the face trace, which we worked out before the lighting. It's a lot easier to define the lighting to get all of this first. Some I got wrong, but that's all right. It's, you're trying. And the next thing we want is to get those shapes, those basic shapes. But when we define them on the character or whoever we're painting, we don't want to be too pedantic. Again, think of brush economy. Think of the less marks you make, the more information you want. You don't want to put all the information there. You just want to make the most important marks on the face to give you enough to put the information there yourself. So especially on the eyes. So when we did the eyes, nice, clear, angled shapes. Because it's a small area, the more curves we put in, the more, I guess, fussy we get. We just want to keep the small areas nice and defined by straight lines. Same thing as the nose, you want to get the most important features. So the side of the nose, the nostril, and they should all fit in these, the boxes where we did the face shape. So all these little defining features, but again, it's like scaffolding. For the first one, you'll need all of the information that you can get. And as you start working more and more and more, say your 10th face, you won't need them. You'll start putting them directly on, if that's the way you go. But don't worry, if you do have to put them, that's fine. As long as you're having fun with Procreate. But when you get to the stage where you're like, oh, I want to start training in real life, you won't have the opportunity to do this. But you would have done it in Procreate, which gives you the skills to do it in real life. Okay, so let's take everything off, put things that we need on. So we have this one here, and this may get tricky with the layer details. So what I'm going to do is I want to combine that with that. So for each one, I'm just going to duplicate it. Oops. So I'll turn it off. So here it is, okay? It's on one layer. I'm going to go and duplicate that, turn them off, and then I'm going to duplicate the original painted layer. So we have 2 of each. Now I'm just going to turn on one of the face painted details and one of the painted layer. So see? And it's in the right order. So the details is on top of the painted layer. Now I'm going to merge those 2. Merge down. And then move that layer back up. Turn off everything else. So did you all get that? Okay, it's a bit tricky, but it's on video. So I've got a record of that layer, and I've got a record of that layer. I duplicated them both, and then I merged them both. So now I have a picture of it merged together that I can work on. So it's the merged layer that you want. So I'm going to go and rename that to merge. I've got the background. I'll turn back on, but they're all separate. So keep an eye on all of these separate layers. I'll just make sure they're named. Yep. Okay, so the merged layer. And now you can go to your turpentine tool. And you can go and refine that. So I'm just going to enlarge it. I'm going to start on the hair because the hair is probably the easiest bit. So see this area, how I've got definite light and shade, which match here. So you can use a photo, whatever photo you want. So maybe I'm going to go back to the original photo of black and white. And I'm going to use that as a reference as I start to put lines together. So I'll just test my tool, turpentine, opacity right up. Too small. I want a size. There we go. I want a size of the typical paintbrush I would use to make these white lines here. Okay, so all I have to do is just blend them 2 together, but in the direction of what you're painting. So her hair is going from the scalp down, and the other thing I want to do is break up my brush strokes. So here's the first one brush stroke. And do you see how it gives that nice, oh, it's a brush stroke. But sometimes with the turpentine brush, as you stop abruptly, it gives you this kind of little mark. It's just the turpentine brush. But if you do it and kind of like press down the turpentine quite hard and then flick off, you don't get that mark, but you get these beautiful brush lines here. So I'll start at the top. So up here, I'm going to start a light touch. Do you see that? And I'm going to try and go down areas that have this distinct, excuse me, look that I want to break up into more of a brush stroke rather than a large amount of color that is there. So, and I'm not doing any curves. Again, you want to keep that nice and straight, not too long, because you think, how long can I paint something for before it stops and dries, or I don't have enough paint? So this area here, this would be a good thing to talk about. So it's an area that I want to blend into the next area, and it's one stroke, I'd say, because it's in a nice direction. Stroke. Actually, before we do that, can you go back to the beginning? Because very important, I forgot to make a duplicate layer. So make one more layer that is of that merge layer and have that one for safekeeping. So we have layers of everything that we've done so far. The second merge, or let's call this the paint blend layer. Oops, that's something wrong there. Rename. I'm going to call that layer the blend layer and start again. So let's just make sure it's in the right layer, blend. We have our turpentine brush. Oops, we're on blend. And change the size of your brush, especially in big chunk areas. And all the while you're doing this, you're keeping in mind where you've put those colors. Because you don't want to go to all the trouble of getting all your colors right and your shades, and then you kind of blowing it out of proportion or changing where they are with the blends, those strokes that you make. And that's all you're doing, is you're just blending things up so that they look passable as painted. And areas that are touching the background, so we've got the background and we've got your painting here. If you go halfway in between with the stroke, you get a really nice effect. So I'll just show you that. I can even make the brush smaller. It just kind of messes the edges up so it doesn't look too perfect. And then I'd go to areas that are not as big. So the hair is the easiest. And again, the other hint is go with the flow of the hair. So I'm going to demonstrate around here. You can get really nice effects of the hair. So you just keep your strokes in the same alignment as the hair. So with her hair, you can see it goes up. Okay, let's just put this line on. You can put your lines, some lines on to keep you focused in the area that you want. So I'd say, see how I'm going from the white and I'm getting that really nice painted effect. So I've got these lovely brush marks and kind of mixing them with areas that aren't too blended. And that gives a really nice natural look. And then I know that her hair is falling down. So see the direction of the hair is going down. You want to keep your strokes in those kind of directions. So just see where this is really nice. Some mixing up with the colors is fine. And I'll go down here. And this hair piece that's coming down, it's coming over this area. So I want to take some of that white and bring that stroke over. I can even bring it around there. So I get this lovely line here. And this area here. Move it down. Blend into there. So you can kind of see it coming together with just those things. And we've used those things before. You know, those stroke patterns. And we're changing the size of the brush. We're changing the opacity. So when you come to details, as you do the face, these eyes, you want to keep your blends, your strokes smaller and still very simply, only in one direction. So I'm going to, for this eye, I'm going to go and change the opacity to 50%. And I'm going to go to the brush size of what I'm working on. So this area here, I'll plan it ahead. I'm thinking, okay, I might do a stroke coming down this way and then this way. And let's see what that looks like. So I'm lightly going to do this. Oh, maybe a bit bigger. There we go. And then I'll do this side. I quite like that area of black there. That looks pretty natural. I might soften this area. That's too much. Yeah, I might soften here. And then an even smaller brush. And I might leave that. That's all I've done. So again, it's not doing everywhere. It's just doing areas that you want to soften. Areas that look here we go. So I would definitely do these areas because they look plastic. They look, computer made. So then I would go and push the opacity up again. Give them that organic feeling. The cheekbone. So remember where you place your pen with the turpentine brush, it's going to pull color from wherever it can grab it. So if I put it here, see how it pulled a bit of this area here and a bit of this area here. So take it back. Watch where you're pulling from. So to not get this grey in here, you'll need to start within the black and then it will pull. Can you see that? Because if you pull from here, it's going to pull the grey. And from here, it's not really pulling anything because it's all grey. So what I'm going to look at now, so I'm going to take that off and have a look. So see how we've got that nice change? And I can see that's the original. That's what we've come up with. And the other thing I want to show you is how your brush strokes. Again, we want nice, big, thick brush strokes where you can. We want to watch how you blend. So these two areas here, we can blend that. I'd say a brush about that size. Oops. So that 2 strokes will soften it up. We can maybe then blend these two together. It's been a bit too harsh, so I'm going to bring the opacity down. Let's try it now. Yeah, that's a softer blend. So see how I'm going crosshatch? I'm going down, then that way, then that way. Kind of gives you a soft blend. This area for the highlight, I quite like that. Looks very natural. I might keep that. But up here, blending the 2 areas, some cross-hatching really helps. But one of the most important features when you do this is blending it within its shape. So especially around the eyes. So we did that blend. And notice where I blended along the direction of what shape it is. So I kept with this area. This was kind of like this diagonal shape. I kept that shape. I blended, oh, I didn't blend, but see how I painted within that shape? So I'll, for example, if I were to blend this, again, I'd go down to opacity. So it's a soft blend. And find my brush. I'm going to blend going that way and then going that way, rather than take a blend and go blend, 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 blend. Because you wouldn't do that in real life. You could, it would take a lot of time, but again, thinking of brush economy, you want to keep it in as less strokes as possible. So for this eye, rather than take a small brush and blend it all over, I'm going to see what's the best way to break it up. So I'll get another small brush, blend that way, a cleaner blend. So I'm going to go and do that. Or another thing, if you want an area to be lighter, blend a lighter color. Sorry, if you want this area to be lighter, you can blend a lighter color area into there to change the color. So I could do so see how those marks are made? So it's just a matter of going around and doing that and referring back to see how much blend you want. Actually, I'll blend this nose for an example. I probably want a heavy blend, and I'll try and get these two colors in together. So see how I just went along that ridge? I'll do it again. So it's quite a heavy blend, so it's 100%. And I want a brush that's going to reach this color and this color. And I'm not going to go straight down like that. Oops. I'm going to go soft in this area, a soft touch, and kind of blend off direction. So I'm blending in this direction rather than straight down, because if I blend straight down, oops, it's not really going to do much. But blending slightly in this direction is going to bring a bit of this color into here, overlap. And I don't really want this mark that it's put there, so I'll just blend up. And I get that nice kind of tip around to show the roundness of the nose. Soften that up. Same as this area, soften it up. Oh, I think I forgot the nostril. That's okay. I'll just go put it in. But this time I'm just going to put it in the gouache brush, because that was the original brush we were using, in the dark. Oops. Gouache. Here it is. Let's have a look at it so far. And I think I'm going to blend. So blending, turpentine brush, quite a big brush because I want to get this area here. And I'm going to go lower my opacity because I want a nice, rough, very gentle blend there. And I want it blended even more. So I'll probably soften my brush, soften these areas. And around here. And around here. Big areas of blend, similar color. And here she's coming to life. And then, if you wanted to go further, you can go further and so on. And I'll just blend here, soften that. And you can see the lightness. So that obviously the more tedious you put your initial marks in at this stage, those marks that we use there, the more likeness you're going to get. But you're definitely going to get likeness if you just put those marks in and, direct yourself wherever you think they are. But use as much of the technology as you can to practice and to learn where things are, and you should be fine. There's something else I wanted to show you. Oh, yeah. So from this stage or any other stage, you can get the other effect of blends. So I might just duplicate that again, safekeeping that one. You can go and get your airbrush, but it's in spray paints. So I might use this one. And that's where you can go in and start getting this effect, that truly blended. And that's where you can, use it like a digital product to get that digital look. So all I'm doing is blending all the colors together. But as I get more to my refined areas, I make my brush smaller. If you wanted more of a look like this, and then adding more and more detail. You can go in it again and then just start painting again with your normal brushes. So I'm going to go in and get my lightest white. And by putting the highlight, can just make things look super real. Just copying where these highlights are. So over here you can start to really build it up in whatever blend that you want, as neat as you want. So that's how people do it, make it look so easy. Do your eyelashes. You can even blend those out. So that's when you can start to get with that really, really realistic effect that you can get with digital painting. But any questions or anything you want to chat about? Yeah. Do you all feel confident that you could watch this video and from what you've learned today, go on to do this and get better and better each time?
Yeah.
Because I think you will. And that really is just the secret to painting. That's all painting is. But as I said, use this to build up your confidence, to build up your fun, to build up your muscle memory. And then eventually try it one day on real paper. Oh, the other thing I forgot to do was put my fake canvas in, which I'm going to slide right to the top and turned on. So that's how we get, those marks there. And remember, that's got to be an M for multiply. So this goes up and down. You can get all different effects, but I like M, multiply. And also, you can go and add your background in. So I'm going to take this right to the top. And now I'm going to blend, I'm going to merge those together. And another nice thing you can do when those layers are merged together, you can go and blend those. So I'll go back to painting. Turpentine. Now watch the tune. Oh, I'll bring it right up. So I like to do this. It just kind of, so you can stylize it. So see how the hair is now blending into the background. So before it was just the hair blending in together, but now it's, and see how it really, and I'm just going to go around. You can be really free with it. That's what I like about it. It gives you, such a nice, I guess, effect. All right. And the back button is great. You can't do that in real life. So that's basic painting, taking you through that. The next thing I want to show you in the last 15 minutes is how to get this prepared to be printed. So once you've got your image, Go back and turn everything off that you don't need. I want that fake canvas. So this is how I want it to be printed. Exactly like this. It's, for instance, say A3. So I only get on the screen what I want. So turn off everything else and then go to this area here. So spanner tool, and I'm going to save it. So either as a JPEG, which is what we normally do, that's sending it as a photo, or we want to save it as a PDF or PNG. Okay, so usually it's a PDF. People want things sent it in because that's the highest resolution, that's the highest way that you can get. So let's save it as a PDF. So share PDF, excuse me, PDF, save it as a PDF, best quality, so it's going to be super large file. And we can save it to files, so it won't save as a JPEG, so it won't, a PDF won't save as a photo. So we can save it to files. And on your computer, you have your, on my iPad, save it anywhere. So I might just save it in my images. Actually, no, I'll just save it. I'll just save it on my iPad. Make a new folder. Temporary. Where is this? Blah. Okay, so it's saved in there. Save. And here it is. So you then go to your files. On your iPad, I saved it in blah. And there it is. So it's 19 meg. So that's how you save it as a PDF. Or you can save it as a JPEG. So we'll just go save it simply as a JPEG. Save image. And it's in your iPhoto. There it is. And you can send it like that. The better way is the PDF. So I might go a little bit over time, but I'll keep going. It'll all be on video if you have to go and miss it. So for instance, Officeworks is the very basic print that you can get. So this is the Officeworks website. So all this is going to get you is a print on decent paper. It's not a archival paper. It's just a basic paper. It's going to be a color print of your image, probably at about the weight. It's probably about twice the weight of photocopy paper. So I've gotten prints of this of my artwork, and the color is actually really good because when you think Officeworks, it's a big company. They have a big, decent computer and printer. But it's not going to get you Giclée prints. So Giclée print is spelled Giclee, and that just means it's by an inkjet print that can get you the best color. So from Officeworks, you just get a print and you just go to the print and copy area, and you want posters, so printing services, wrong one. Print and copy, printing services, posters. And you want to get a premium poster, or the color posters are fine. It's just you get better paper on the premium. So choose one or the other. Premium, and that's $17 for A4. You can get all different sizes here. So choose your size. So I want something that's, say, A3, that's the size that I want. Create, upload your design, choose your file, So if I wanted to go back to my high res, the PDF, here it is in my files. Or I can just go to my iPhone photo library. Here it is. Use. What's the incorrect file type? It says so it should just go in there. I think because it's not the same resolution. I mean, not same resolution. It has to be changed over. I'll just take it from my iPhoto library. We can't print the file type you have uploaded. Please save your file. I've saved it as either of those. Drop and drag. Choose file. Well, really what it should be is if that piece, or maybe this is an A3.
Rose.
Yeah.
So it works when I chose file from the PDF we saved just now. Yeah, it didn't work from JPEG, but it works from PDF.
Oh, okay. Well, that should work. I can guarantee it work. It's probably because this file here is, check my canvas information, dimensions. It's probably too big. Sometimes if it's too big, but if you had set up at this stage that it was A3 with those A3 dimensions, it would have gone in. So that's how you do the Officeworks one. Did anybody go through that with me? You were fast, Tommy. It worked for you. So just by choosing here, so if your files are correctly formatted from the start, it should definitely go through there just by clicking on either one. And that should upload, and then you pay for it and then you pick it up or you get it sent to you. The other, and one thing that it does say, one thing that if you do go on a website like this that you have to keep in mind is that the colors. So they usually have, you know, what files are supported. So this one used PDF for the best results and the dimensions. So because my dimensions aren't the same as the A4, so sometimes it's limited, you can only do them in those standard sizes. It won't accept it in because it was a different size. So they want you to make sure of that. High resolution, which means that it's going to be more than 300 DPI. So the DPI, which we did in the beginning. So remember the DPI, always keep it 300. That's the best size. And CMYK colors. Okay, so we've been working in, so if we go back to Spanner tool into Canvas, remember there was Canvas information and we were working in current profile sRGB. So it's always sRGB or just RGB. That's the color space for the computers, for a computer screen. If we wanted to, we could go and change that at the beginning. So I'll just make a new canvas. So color profile, RGB, it's always RGB. Don't worry about this. This is just something special to mine. So we can go and change that to CMYK. So I might just change that. So here's a way you can change it. So I'm creating a new canvas. So let's do it here. Let's do an A3. So A3 I think is 42 by, I think it was 29, 300 DPI. But let's change the color profile to CMYK. So here it is. Here's a CMYK color profile. And I don't know if you can see, but it is so much more dull than what the RGB is. So because that's A3, I want to put it on A3. I can go and add in an image, which is that one there. Here we go. Now it's at the correct size. And that's the painting that we want to print. But Officeworks says, keep it in CMYK colors. We've made a CMYK canvas that's A3. And if we go to canvas, we can see we've made that in the CMYK profile. So we can send this image now, share, JPEG, wherever we want to send it. It's now a CMYK image that we can upload to Officeworks. Let's see if it uploads now. Choose file. I don't know why, but I've had this problem before with Officeworks. Just give them a call and they can go through and show you. But that's how you get the CMYK colors. Just make a duplicate from the very start and make sure that the color profile from the start is CMYK. So it's just a matter of clicking those. But as you saw in the CMYK, it's a lot more dull. So the best places to get printed at are Officeworks is one. And this is another one called Poster Factory. It's just come online. So this is kind of like Officeworks, same similar price, but it's a lot higher quality. I say its quality is just as good as your independent Giclée printers that do the fine art prints. It's just that the machinery is probably the same, even better, but you don't have that kind of personalized service as you would with someone, you know, it's called a specialized art printer. And again, sometimes you only have the generic sizes, so it's got to be within those sizes. But you can see it does have the fine art prints here, and they have the special paper. So their bestseller is the Ilford Gallery Textured Cotton Rag, which is what I use to put my prints on. For one of my businesses, I make prints. I have it on this paper, the Ilford Gallery Textured, which is just like kind of watercolor paper, but it's really thick. It's probably five times the thickness of normal photocopy paper. And how you go through that website, there's, you know, it's just, you know, pay as you go. So you want to print, you choose whatever you want, and you just go through and do that. The third one is the National Art School. Have one. And if you go right at the top here, you'll see Print Lab. It's a bit hard to find. So go to Print Lab. And you can see they actually have that kind of premium printing art print site and service. And there you'll get the personalized touch there. You'll get to be able to speak to them and get more information off them. And at this time, they still want things in the CMYK space. Okay, most of the other printers, like that poster one, new printers that are coming online, they just do it in the normal RGB as we've been doing. You wouldn't have to go and change anything there. And they have kind of a weird setup where you actually have to send the image to them on Dropbox. But again, that's another process. That's each individual company has ways of putting that in or sending it to them. Officeworks and Poster Factory are probably, you know, the main ones where you have to put it up in certain ways, like, you know, through the actual system. This system, you just email them through on Dropbox, but they have all the information on that side. Any questions? I'll keep recording. If you have to go, I'll just probably be another 5 minutes with things that I've yet to show you. There's only a couple of things.
So, yeah, I just have a question about the National Art School Print Lab. Can you go in person, drop it off?
Yeah, it's probably better if you do, because, you know, depending on where you get it printed from, see, they've got a whole area here on how to print, and it's quite detailed and complicated. They want it in a specific way. So it's probably better if you do that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put some links of different places that you can print from. What's the other important thing? Oh yeah, the only thing I didn't get to show you during the course was text that I had meant to show you at one stage. So to get text, all you do is you just click on the spanner, add, you want to go to add, insert file, we've done these, we want to add text. So you just click on add text and you'll get one of these pop up. And basically whatever color is in here is going to be the color of your text. So it's just like any other desktop, like Word or something like that. Just put your text in. Oh, isn't that working? I'll just do it again. Add text. It's black. Ah, why is this happening to me? There should be text. Oh, maybe, here it is. It's because the text is hidden in between all those layers. So I'm just going to push it right to the top. There. So it's just hidden behind everything else. So push it to the top. And again, like Word, all of those things, it's just basically, if you want to change the text, go in and highlight it. And also if you wanted to change the color, just again, highlight it again. And it has quite good text features. So if you click on this little icon here, that brings up all of these features that you can edit. They have a lot of different text, things like all of this kerning. Go and see what you want to do. Underline, click done. So again, it will just be as is until you go back. And if you want to change the text again, you just make sure that it's on the text one. So if you can't change the text if you're on a different layer, you've got to be on the text layer and it's got to be highlighted. And here there are some more little tricks and things that you can use. But make sure it's highlighted and you want to go to that little area there. That brings up the editing. And I think that's all. Actually, I had notes. Everything I wanted to show you. Oh, one more thing. I think it was Fatima who had asked me, I've got my note here, of how to do that mandala thing. I don't know what it's called, but I'll just show you where it is. Just turn off the text. Okay, so you had asked me once, you draw a line and it repeats everywhere else. This is where it is. So you go to Spanner Tool and you go to Canvas, and inside Canvas is Drawing Guide. So we've looked at this before. If you want lines on your drawing, but you know they don't come out, this is where it is. So Drawing Guide, but you want to go to Edit Guide, and Edit Guide was where we could go up and change the size of the squares. We can change the color. So see this, tapping on any of these colors changes it. What you had asked for is in this area here. So this is 2D grid. You can change it to isometric, like if you're doing architecture, perspective, or things like that. It's symmetry that you wanted. So if I click done, I'll get it on a darker color, so I'll get it on red. Done. Ah. Done. Just go to gouache. So see how it makes it symmetry, so you can create mandalas. And if you look at the layer, it says assisted. So that is different from a normal layer, because this layer, you have that enabled for. So we can go back to change it. So drawing guide, it's on, edit drawing guide, and we can click on symmetry again. Oh, sorry, options. And that gives us more options. So we can do divided into 4. Done. And it divides it into 4, can divide it into 3. So that's how you do that one. Is that what you were after, Fatima?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I thought maybe because we didn't have time, I thought I just have to look it up.
No. If I said
Yeah,
I
that
was
you
gonna,
showed me. Yeah. It's exciting because sometimes, like, you know, prints, you know, you want to just do one section of it and then, you know, obviously mirror it.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see that we don't have to sit there, and long gone are those days when we used to have to trace the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh well. Good. I'm glad I showed you that. And I think that was, yeah, well, that's pretty much everything, plus a bit more of what you needed to learn for this course. And how'd you all go? Anybody, you know, got any more questions or anything that anyone needs help on before you go?
That's great. Thanks, Rose.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the course.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
oh,
Very
good.
much. Yeah.
I'm so glad. You're all really good. Like I said, I think I got a lot more in that was needed to. So, and you all handled it pretty well. So I'm excited to see your work. So as I said, in 2 weeks, is there anyone that doesn't think that they could get that to me in 2 weeks, the finished image or any kind of finished image for me to look at?
It'll be all good.
Send me whatever you want. You can send it to me or not, but the cutoff date I will email you is in 2 weeks, and I will send you a video so you'll have me speaking. And please put any questions or feedback or anything you want on that email. So you'll get all the same link to watch it.
Just after the course, like if we have any like questions or, you know, are we still able to like contact you or?
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, totally. That's fine. If I can't answer it or if it's too long, I'll just send you a link to somewhere like on like I just learned that thing that you asked me for, like just before. I just Googled how do you do that mandala line in Procreate.
Oh, okay,
so,
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
As well, because I know you mentioned something about children illustration books. Just I find this a bit confusing. You know, with like pages, right? Are they broken down into layers? Is that how we do it?
Yeah. So whatever you see, so here, you know, we can only see these layers.
Yeah.
Because they're turned on. Whatever you see, it can show like see all these, and I can't see like the text layer or something. You just got to make sure that everything you want to see is on and everything you don't see is not on.
Okay, so that's how we create the pages. Yeah.
That's how you create, and you just save each of those pages. So just say this is your title page. It's got the writing on it. You save that as a JPEG or a PDF.
Yeah.
But remember the PDF, just say if you've got this, let's just turn one thing on. Just say you've got your text page and this is text, right?
Yeah.
They may be printing on blue paper.
Yeah.
But all they want is the text. So you wouldn't have your white turned on because it'll print exactly what's on your screen.
Oh, okay. So you've got to make sure that the background's turned off, the text.
Background's turned off. And remember, we saved as a PNG.
Yeah. Or when it comes to text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, only if it's, you know, if it's white paper, just print it on white. But if they say just send me the PNG layer, that's what they mean. Because like, remember when I sent this to Oliver, when he opened it up, it was invisible. So when you print that and it's blue paper, it's not going to print white. If you sent it like that, it's going to print white on your blue paper. But if you send it, you know, naked, there's nothing behind it, it just saves it and prints it as just what it is.
So that background there is really something that we should automatically turn off as soon as we start.
If you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah. Just
Yes,
remember
thank
that.
you.
That is
Okay.
what the PNG is.
Yeah. Okay.
Rose, I have a question. I've just put the canvas layer behind my painting and it's gotten really sort of like a yellowy hue. It's lost the sort of crispness.
It does do that. It does change it a little bit. Sorry, I'll just show you through. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it does. It does. When you press the multiply, it does darken it a little bit because it takes the background, the actual canvas, textured canvas, and your image, and it kind of squeezes it together, and it does make it a little bit darker. If you go back, when you go into this file here, do you see all of these different things? You can try. The multiply does give you that distinct merging of the two, but it does darken it. So you may want to go, and when you do press that multiply button, is go back and brighten the image a little bit to compensate for that. Yeah.
How do I do that?
Sorry?
How do I brighten?
Oh, just go to your brightness, whatever image it is, and you just click on the magic tool where the hue, saturation, and brightness is right at the top.
Yeah.
You can just brighten it a little bit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
That's all right. And anyone else have any questions? No, if you forget any, just let me know in the email when you send your image. And good luck to everyone. It's been a pleasure to teach you all.
Thank you so much, Rose.
And lovely to meet you, and good luck with all of your artworks. If you ever get something in you're extra proud of that you've made, email it to me. I'm always happy to look at people's work.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. You'll hear from me soon.